but you're the reason I clap my hands. Cause you're good like that. Yeah, you're good like that. Yeah. The kind of joy money never could buy. The kind of peace that surpasses my mind. No, I can't explain it. No, I can't contain it. It's just inside me. Oh, got that Sunday morning feeling. I can't hide it. I can't hide it. Counting blessings to the ceiling. I believe that you are working everything for good. No denying. Your love is shining. That Sunday morning feeling. Sunday morning feeling. Sunday morning feeling. You're making everything alright. So I'm dancing down the aisles in my mind. That's why I keep on throwing my hands up. You know I won't stop singing cause I've got that Sunday morning kind of vibe. It's just inside me. Got that Sunday morning feeling. I can't hide it. I can't hide it. Counting blessings to the ceiling. I believe that you are working everything for good. No denying. No denying. Your love is shining. That Sunday morning feeling. Sunday morning feeling. Sunday morning feeling. Sunday morning
Well, good morning, Ford Point. Come on in. Welcome, welcome. Go ahead, take a minute. Pull out your phones. As people are arriving this morning and getting settled, we like to have a little fun. We like to get things kick-started. We are going to do a little trivia this morning. So pull out your phones. You're going to go to ccg.buzz. And in a second there, you'll see a code up there on the screen for them to be able to access. There's your code, FN5J. Put in your code, put in your screen name there. We'll make sure that it's not our random screen names, but the true screen names. And we're going to have a little fun to see who's got the best trivia hat on this morning. Hopefully you came this morning awakened, maybe showered, alive and ready to tackle the day. So go ahead, pull out your phones to get in and see if you can have some bragging rights this morning. Give you another minute. Myself and my wife and my oldest daughter, along with some other friends from here, were in D.C. the past few days. So this morning is a little White House themed trivia. will make sense the more the morning goes on here today. So it looks like everyone's in, got their name. Let's go ahead and get this party started. Question number 1 this morning for our White House themed trivia time. Here we go. What color was the White House originally painted? It was unpainted, red, white, or gray. Which color was the original? Let's see. What do you guys think? The majority of you thought that it was gray. Actually, it was unpainted. The cheapest way to get by is just not to paint it, right? That sounds like my kind of home improvement job. Let's just not do it. After 1, Team Russell. It requires a team for Russell to be on the board there. He couldn't do it by himself. But who was the first president to live in the White House? Who was the first president? Was it Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, George Washington, or was it John Adams? Who was the first president to live in the White House there? You guys think that it was John Adams, and I think it was Thomas Jefferson, I believe. Let's see. Oh, it was John Adams. Wow, well done. You guys, smart group right there. Oh, Aiden taking a strong commanding lead there, representing the Nolan clan. All right, next up, how many rooms are there in the White House? How many rooms? Imagine having to clean this place. Is there 365, 52, 250, or 132? How many rooms in La Casa de Blanco? You guys think 132? This is a smart group here this morning because I believe you're right. Yes. Oh, Lori jumped up to first place there. Something special going on in that row over there, I think. They must have had some of Mama Skinner's treats this morning. How many fireplaces are in the White House? How many fireplaces are there? 35, 28, 18, or 55? What do you think there? How many fireplaces? Big place to keep warm. You guys think that there's 18. I think it's maybe 28. 20. Yes, 28. Right? Is it right? Or is that up here? Wow, well done. All right. First place keeps changing hands here. Which First Lady is credited with the first major restoration and historical preservation of the White House? Who did it? Was it Jackie Kennedy, Eleanor Roosevelt, Dolly Madison, or Michelle Obama? Who do you think? Who do you think said, hey, we need to make sure this place looks nice regularly? You guys seem to think that Eleanor Roosevelt was the person to do that. Actually, it was Jackie Kennedy. She was Team Russell returns to the top of the food chain there. The White House was briefly known as the President's Palace and the Executive Mansion, but who officially named it the White House? Who did it? Who gave it the official title of the White House? Was it Mr. Adams, Mr. Roosevelt, Mr. Jackson, or Mr. Polk? Let me think here. I don't remember. I'm going to say Theodore Roosevelt. What do you guys think? You guys thought Theodore Roosevelt. I think just maybe. Yes, Theodore Roosevelt. Wow, there seems to be a theme of people taking the first place slot here. Which president oversaw the construction of the White House? Was it Thomas Jefferson, James Monroe, John Adams, or George Washington? Who do you think oversaw the construction of the White House? You guys think that it was George Washington, and you guys are correct. It was George Washington. He never got to live there, but he oversaw the construction of it. What major event caused the White House to be rebuilt in the early 19th century? Was it a hurricane? Was it that it set on fire during the War of 1812? Was it a structural collapse, or was it an earthquake? What caused the White House to have to be rebuilt? Wow, a bunch of smart folks we have here this morning. Absolutely right. It was the fire during the War of 1812. The matriarch. Oh, all the way from. Is she home or she's home? The matriarch. Yes, Miss Sabrina. Saint Sabrina, as we like to refer to her affectionately. Which U.S. president popularized the phrase "the people's house" to describe the White House in speeches and public addresses? Was it Mr. Obama there, Abraham Lincoln, Franklin D. Roosevelt, or Andrew Jackson? I think this is the last one. This is the last one for all the marbles here. What do you guys think? You guys think it was FDR? It's actually Abraham Lincoln. Yes, Mr. I have it 7 years ago. Mr. Russell for the win there. Mr. Russell, much unlike his Jets, puts up a W. Let's see how Team Russell fares for the rest of the day today.
Good morning,
Hey
Forward Point.
guys.
How's everybody doing this morning? Maybe we could do a little better than that. How's everybody doing this morning? There we go.
Okay, that was a little bit better.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Forward Point. Here we are a community of faith, hope, and love, helping people find their purpose. We believe you're here on
Purpose.
for a
Purpose.
and we'd like to be part of that story any way we can. You can get connected here. How can we get connected here?
There's a lot of different ways, but if you're new to Forward Point, I want to give you a special welcome and thank you for joining us this morning. We're so glad and really excited that you're here this morning to join us. Well, hopefully at some point you got a gift of banana bread, I should say. I always say banana nut bread, but that's me. That's my thing, because I'm a little nutty. But some banana bread, it's a little gift, a little appreciation for joining us this morning. And we just hope at some point today, if you didn't get it, you go right behind these doors. There's a welcome table there. There's some people that would love to meet you and talk to you and connect with you and answer any questions that you have. And over the next 75 minutes or so, but we just want you to participate, feel comfortable to drink coffee, some water, enjoy that banana bread if you get it now, some popcorn, and participate any way you feel comfortable doing.
Yes, and then we are also on forms of social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and X. A bunch of our events are posted on there, recaps are posted on there, and then also you can be part of other people finding Forward Point. Through a natural algorithm, whether you like or share it, it will be able to organically spread on other people's For You pages, and then that'll be an organic way to invite someone, and an unintentional yet intentional way to bring someone into Forward Point so that they can see what we're all about here and see our purpose and our plan. We are also on the Church Center app. The Church Center app is the best way to get connected and to stay connected. Everything is on there, all of our events, all of our life groups. Life groups are starting up soon, so I encourage you, check out a few of those if you haven't been connected to one yet. See what they're all about and see which one best fits you. Also, we have the food trucks coming every Friday again. This week is...
It's the kitchen.
Kitchen pop-up.
Yeah, so the kitchen is right across the street from Love Handles, and they kind of been watching us do our food trucks. And they're kind of looking and like, wow, what's going on over there? Like I said, I go to a lot of them, and they are fun. Get to talk. There's food being shared. So we're gonna we invited them over. They're gonna be there. We'd like to show them some support for somebody whose business is here at Eastwood. So if you come out, you can show them some love and hang out and have a good time.
There's some really good food, so come eat with me. It's really good. And then I believe that's all we have for announcements. So kids, you can go. There is a leader waiting for you. Miss Kiwi's up there in red. And have fun up there, guys. Enjoy the rest of the gathering.
Well, good morning once again. It's great to see everybody here. Like I said, a couple of us got to head out to D.C. over the past few days, and we had a great time. But I don't know if anyone else has ever felt this way. If you've been away on vacation, or I got to imagine anybody who's ever camped has felt this way. You get back home, and you're like, I am so glad to be home. Like it reminds me of the classic line from The Wizard of Oz, right? Dorothy, to get back home, she's got to click her heels and be like, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. Well, I got home yesterday, and I have never in my life felt more inspired to just kneel in my grass and smell and pull it up and throw it in the air and just be so grateful to sleep in my own bed and then to be in my own showers. Anybody else ever experienced anything like that? Right? Try to take yourself back to that memory, right? The things that you felt where you're just like, there's nothing quite like being able to go to the bathroom on your own toilet. Let's get real here, right? Like these things are just the nuts and bolts of what it feels like to just feel like there's no place like home. We stayed in an Airbnb, and there was about 12 of us, and we wanted to try to get everybody together because it's just a fun environment when everybody can stay together. But, sometimes when you go to places, it's not exactly what it looks like on the pictures. They must get lessons from Mr. Skinner on how to make things that look really bad look really good via pictures, because they had some really nice pictures. But we got there, and it was a little rough. Some of the beds were kind of rough, and some of the pullouts were kind of rough, and the neighborhood was blaring music at like midnight, and it just was one of those things where I got home and put my head down, and I don't think I have slept that good as I did last night, because there is absolutely no place like home. Well, we're in the middle of this really large series going through the Sermon on the Mount, and then kind of this mini series in the middle of that. Right in the middle of the Sermon on the Mount is this instructions on how to pray that Jesus gives us, often referred to as the Lord's Prayer. It'd probably be better off to title it something like the Lord's instructions on how to pray, because the Lord has a really intense prayer that he gives in the garden before his death, which would probably be more aptly to be known as the Lord's Prayer. But for most people, they know this as the Lord's Prayer. It would be easy for us to probably just pause and stop for a second, and we could all recite it verbatim. Even if you didn't really grow up in church or in faith circles, there's a good chance you could say the Lord's Prayer. Probably the most quoted words in all of the Bible is the Lord's Prayer. It's just something that kind of gets passed down, and as a result of that, it can kind of lose a lot of the meaning that goes on. And what happens is the prayer, the Lord's Prayer or any other kind of prayer, is an opportunity for us to either be formed or to perform. And because the Lord's Prayer is so just easy to recite, whatever the occasion, it usually just is performed rather than an opportunity to form what's going on inside of us. In fact, when it comes to prayer in general, there's a good chance that you're praying not so much to be formed and to say, God, change me, help me be more like you. There's a good chance that you're praying, if you're anything like me as far as I pray, it just gets boiled down to oftentimes a need list, right? That God is kind of this big cosmic vending machine in the sky, and whenever I need something, whenever I want something, whenever something has kind of happened in my life that's not going my way and I need some kind of divine alteration of those events, then we pull out the prayer card. Less about forming inside of us, forming us as Christians, forming us as followers of Christ and wanting to be his disciples, but more just a hopeful formula that maybe if we can get enough people to be praying for this one thing that we need, that we'll get what we want. And last week we started, as we dove into this idea that we talked about, before you can recite it for formation, speaking of the Lord's Prayer, you have to mine it for application. So as we dive into these weeks on specifically the Lord's Prayer found in the Sermon on the Mount, what we want to do is we want to mine it for the application, so that as we begin to say these words in the future, maybe it takes you a little bit longer to get through, because you're being reminded of what you're actually saying when you say these words, right? You're being challenged to reorient what's going on in my life that's not lining up with the expectation or the hope that Jesus had for us when he gave us these words. Because he gave them to us for a very specific reason, to do a very specific work in our life. And he says, when you do this, when you can, try to do it by yourself. Try to do it privately, get alone, so that you can go through the work of formation in your life. And this prayer can help you do it. So last week we started off, we didn't get too far. We got to our Father, right? This idea, if you're here last week, that when it comes to just the call right from the beginning that Jesus is setting us up for, he says, that formation into the likeness of Christ means that yours and our is getting bigger, not smaller. That our circle is getting bigger. That there's more and more people that begin to find themselves in that circle, because all of us are children of God. He is our Father. Whether or not they put themselves in relationship with Jesus, they're still a child of God. Right? If you say, but I'm an atheist, I don't believe in God or that there is a God, but here's the reality, right? There wouldn't be atheists if there wasn't a God. So it doesn't matter whether or not you've said a prayer, it doesn't matter where you are, and I believe this with all my heart, a child of God. And as children of God, it's our job to grow to enlarge our circles so that more and more people find themselves in relationship with us, that we care more about those relationships. And this morning, we're not going to get all that much farther. We're going to dive into this idea of our Father in heaven. Now, I had mentioned that we had went to D.C. over the past few days, and one of the days that we were there, we kind of ran into this real sticky situation. This is D.C., if you've never been there. This is where the White House is, and the second night we were there, we were out visiting some of the war memorials, the monuments. We got to see the Lincoln Memorial, and as often happens when you do a lot of walking and it's late at night, you start to develop hunger. So we looked up some local places and we found one, and we decided, let's go to this one particular restaurant. Now what I'm going to do is kind of draw on here to show you the path that we went on to. So the restaurant that we wanted to go to was over here in this area. So my Apple Maps put out for me a path for us to get there. It wanted us to go this way and come into this park and go follow this path and go through and come over here into our restaurant. It said a walk, it should take about 10, 15 minutes for you to get there walking normally, right? So as we get there, we get to this section right here, and I forgot to put the picture in now that I think about it, but we got to the section, and right here at this section, there were some barriers. Now, it was the kind of barrier, there was no signs on there. There was nothing that said keep out or don't go in. There was just some barriers that made it look like, cars couldn't get through, but there were spaces for us to walk through. Now, some of us had a little harder than others getting through those spaces, but still, we were able to walk through the different barriers, so it just made sense that, we can walk through here, but they don't want any cars going through here. Not a big deal. So here we are, we start getting to this place, and we're walking here in this area. As we're walking in this area, we begin to notice something. There's all sorts of police cars at all these corners. Right? All sorts of police cars that start to, what looks like, stop traffic. And then we notice something else. In the sky, there's this helicopter that's going round and round. Now, one of the people who was on the trip with us was Nima, who's a pilot in training. He's hoping to get his license, but he has access to these pilot apps, and he pulls out his phone and he looks up the flight or airplane helicopter number, I don't know, of this particular plane, and he shows the flight path of this helicopter. And this helicopter, this was what the helicopter did. It just was constantly rotating around this particular area. And we're starting to think, this is kind of interesting. We might find ourselves here in a precarious situation. So we're walking through this area, and we get to this place right here, about halfway through the park, and all of a sudden this light flashes on us. And it was a person, here it doesn't show it, but there's a gate here that you can't get by, obviously. But this person with this vest that says Secret Service on it says, "What are you doing here? The park is closed, get out of here." And we're like, okay, can we just keep going where we want to get to our restaurant? And they're like, no, you got to go this way and go around. And we're walking out, and as we're walking out, we see this happens to us. this helicopter looks an awful lot like the helicopter that the president flies in and out of when he gets from the White House. Now, this particular one that you see here, this was just a decoy. This was the first of the helicopters. It just flew on by. Once we got a little further out, where we're supposed to be, this was the president's helicopter landing just, probably a few hundred yards in front of us. This is a video that my wife took. I was trying to take a video, but as I pull out, a Secret Service guard came out of that building and started talking to us. How did you get through this area? How did you get to where you were? You're not supposed to be there. And we felt rather intimidated. Now, if you don't know my story, you don't know that I have a history with the Secret Service. And if you're not familiar with that story, I can tell you at a different time. But somewhere there's probably a file with my name on it in some kind of database system as some of the things that I did when I was young and restless there, right? But here's the thing. The president's house, the White House, is often referred to as the people's house. It did not feel like the people's house in this moment. It did not seem or feel like they wanted us to be anywhere near this particular location. And here's the big idea for this morning that we're going to be diving into is that when it comes to our Father in heaven, what we have to realize is that this is our family, but this is not our home. As much as they wanted to say, this is the people's house, your taxes pay for this house belongs to you, we did not feel welcome. The people around us, this is your family. The people that you work next to, the people that you live next to, this is your family. Whether or not they have put their faith in Jesus, they're part of the hour. So they are part of our family. But when you look around, this is not our home. This is not where our heart should be, right? We know the expression, home is where the heart is. And for a lot of us, this is where we have fully invested our hearts. This is where we have set up shop, and you could probably look at any one of our lives, and we could say, oh, this is where Jimmy's heart is. Because you would look at all the days of the week and the hours in the day, and you would say, man, there's a big portion of it where Jimmy devotes to X, Y, Z. Or maybe where you devote to X, Y, Z. And that might put together a story that says more that your heart is in fact here, that you would consider this home. But what Jesus does is he kind of takes us from this our Father to our Father in heaven, this kind of expression where we could not be closer to Jesus as our Father, Abba. Very intimate expression that Jesus says. And almost as quick as a dime, he turns and says, our Father who's in heaven. This great distance that's actually between where we are currently and where he is. There's this interesting tension that he sets up. And it's not that there's this great distance. It's just that you and I were not created for eternity here on earth. You and I weren't created for, living in New York or living in retirement land down in Florida for eternity. You and I were created to be with God in eternity. And that's what we're called to do. So this isn't our family, but this is our family, but this is not our home. And we could probably have the entirety of the Sermon on the Mount has been to look at Jesus as what's going on inside of us, what's happening deep, what we would say is our heart or our soul or our mind, this place inside that we can't really put a finger on. And Jesus is saying this prayer is to be used to form us. Our Father in heaven, this is our family, but now we need to realize that where in our life have we set up camp here on earth? I kind of wrote it out this way. Where in our lives do we love where we are more than who we are with? Right? When you look around at your life, what happens in the world today where you care about more? What's happening in America, in your city, in your workplace? So much so that it is okay to live in a certain way where you stop caring about the people that you are with. And these words that Jesus gives us right from the beginning of the prayer is that, you know what, we're called to love the people that we're with, to grow our circles, more importantly, way more beyond where we are, because this is not our home. This is not where we're called to live. And being in D.C., I think D.C. has to be my favorite city. I love all of the history that's there. When you go to the memorials, you just see all the names on the walls of people who just were willing to sacrifice their life so that we would have a country that is free. You don't really see anything else like that in history. The only thing else that comes to mind for me really is the New Testament church, where it's just, again, people whose names we don't even know, who just laid down their life in the Colosseum or laid down their life during the plague and just said, you know, we're going to go to where our life is in peril because we love the people more than we love this being our home. So much so that we're willing to sacrifice, to lay down our life, because knowing that this is not our home releases us from the love of our own lives, and we're going to be willing to lay them down. Being in National Cemetery the Arlington National Cemetery, you go there and you just see the sea of crosses that are just in every which direction. And one of the highlights of that is going to the tomb of the unknown soldier, and there's just such honor and reverence and respect and discipline when you see these soldiers who just by themselves marching back and forth, and then in unison when there's the changing of the guards, and it brings you to this sense of awe. It's not something you just see when you're at home or even in our own city. Like we don't live with this day to day. So we take pilgrimages to go and see it play out in action. And this calling and this idea that this is not our home, and really it is been interwoven in the story of God and his calling on us as followers of him as far back as the Old Testament. God has this conversation with Abraham, and he says, Abraham, you got a real good thing going on right here. You're successful, you got everything that you could possibly want, but here's the deal. I'm looking for a people that I can bless the entire world with. And if you want to be the patriarch, the start of that mission, you can, but it's going to require you to leave everything that you know, the lands, the success, and to just kind of be a people who are living on the go. And Abraham says, sign me up. That's who I want to be. And all throughout the Old Testament, the people of Israel have developed these names as like foreigners and aliens and strangers, because they didn't really have they weren't tied to the world that they lived around them. They were tied to this story that they were a part of with God. They cared more about the people around them and what God was going to do to bless the entire world than they cared about the world in which they lived. And obviously Jesus played this out, and then the New Testament church, again, you just see people who, I bet you the New Testament church did not have perfect theology. I have a good hunch that there were some things that the New Testament church, right after Jesus ascended and for the years afterwards, they didn't all necessarily agree or have the correct theology on when he was going to return or on different topics. But what they were committed to is that this is not our home. And we're going to be willing to choose following Jesus over any threat of death or taking away of our resources. And as a result, the New Testament church and the church in general has grown to, a third of the world's population, whereas the Roman government is nowhere to be found. That's the kind of impact that people who say, this is not my home, but I'm going to love the people who are around me, can have. It's eternity changing. And that's the church that you and I are a part of. But it only works, it only happens when we go through these moments and these times where we look and use this prayer as an opportunity to say, God, where in my life am I tied to? Am I invested? Have I bought stock in the world around me? It could be in a political movement. It could be in a religious movement. It could be in your own financial movement and your 401k and your title and your position. Right, where you're bought into the extent that it's okay to step over people, to step on top of people, to push people to the side or maybe demean people. You call it truth, you call it whatever you want to, but your circle is shrinking. So what you're telling us is that you love where you are here on earth more than your real home, because your real home is not here. You were created for eternity with God. Now, granted, your body's not going to make it. Your body's going to bow out at some point, just like my body will. But there's this place, there's something inside of you that can only come from God as our creator that's going to live on for eternity. And that thing inside of you right now is being formed to love and to live for certain things. And for many of us, we are forming it into loving things of this world. But Jesus says right from the get-go, this is not our home. You were created for some other place. So don't put your foundation here. Don't build your proverbial house here, because you were not made for this to be your home. When you and I, when we love where we are more than who we are with, then we've turned the gospel upside down. We've undercut its power in the world today. One of the things that has saddened me over the past few weeks, obviously first the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and still I get sick over the replay of the picture in my mind of watching it happen. But over this last week, over social media, I've seen a lot of different videos, and there have been people who video themselves, and this is kind of how it breaks down. They are walking out of their church, and they say, my church didn't talk about Charlie Kirk, so this is me leaving my church. Right, and I wish I could say it was just one video that I saw or just a handful of videos, but it's almost become kind of this viral sensation where these people feel like what's happening here on this earth is more important than the relationship that they have with their church. And one of them said, I've been going to this church for 10 years and I'm never going back. And I thought to myself, man, if Jesus were here, do you think that's what he would care most about in life? You think he cares about our political system? Without a doubt, I believe he cares about what happened to Charlie Kirk, and it is a tragedy, and it's terrible. But he cares more about our hearts, that we are growing our circle. And if there's things that can happen in this world, if there's things that can happen politically, if there's things that can happen spiritually, that could cause you to walk away and step away and even badmouth a church without having talked to the leadership, without having investigated, then there may be a chance that you find your home here and not with where God is in heaven. You see, when we get to the place where we recognize, okay, God is in heaven, that's where our home is, then what happens down here should begin to have less and less of an effect on our lives. But there are so many of us, man, that with the things that happen on this earth, they send us into all sorts of crazy tirades or tizzies or bend us out of shape. And it's amazing because there's a lot of people who I talk with and they can't wait for God to return, but at the same time, they're like, I can't believe what's happening in the world today. And I think to myself, if you read the end of the story tells us that these things are going to happen. that it's going to get bad before it gets worse. But if this is your home, watching it get bad is going to get you bent out of shape. But if your home is in heaven, then your goal is going to be to bring heaven down here to earth. Then when things happen here in this world, you're going to say, you know what, it doesn't matter because I am not made for this world. This is not where I'm setting up shop. And the Charlie Kirk response is really just another in a long list of things where the church has responded in these bonker ways. Not too long ago, there was this thing called COVID. Probably you remember. During COVID, as a pastor, the church was divided and both sides hated you. Because if you were a pastor and you said to come back to church, you got to wear masks. We're going to honor the establishment, whatever they say, that we have to do. We're going to honor that. Then there was half the group that says, you're caving into the system, and I can't believe you're doing that. Don't you realize that we're free and we have the freedom of assembly? And then the other group was thankful. Or if you said, we're not going to honor the rules that have been given to us by the local authorities, then the other group swapped, and the other group was mad at you. And what it has begun to display is that followers of Christ love their home here on earth way more than they love their home in heaven. That they have been formed into this belief that they were created for what is happening here as the primary source of their formation, rather than you and I were created for heaven. And as individuals, as spiritual beings created for heaven, that then forms us to begin to live differently here on earth. It begins to not give us any excuse to love our family that's here around us, to love our family that we work with, to love our family that doesn't maybe believe the same way that we believe politically. Right? Those things don't have as much weight because what's happening here on earth doesn't matter. Because our eternity has already been taken care of. You see, that the New Testament church did not have the perfect doctrine. But still, they managed to grow into what we have today because they did have the mindset of this is not my home. This was not what I was created for. Jesus has come and he so changed my life that what is happening here on earth what happens to me here on this earth doesn't even matter anymore. I'm going to lay down my life for the sake of my eternal home and not this home. And they indeed did change the world. And God begins to have this conversation as the Old Testament story plays itself out, and the people of God, the Jews, they find themselves in captivity, and through the prophet Jeremiah, God begins to talk about the future that he has for them. And probably all of us are familiar with Jeremiah 29:11. You may have it highlighted in your Bible. You may have it in a nice picture in your house someplace. We all love Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. In fact, we'll read it here together, right? For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. And you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. And I will be found by you, declares the Lord, and will bring you back from captivity. I will gather you from all the nations and places where I have banished you, declares the Lord. And I will bring you back to the place from which I carried you into exile. You can't help read that, but just love it, right? And why do we love it? Because it's all about us. For I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me. When you seek me with your heart, I will be found by you, and will bring you back from captivity, and I will gather you from all the nations. Right, this basically sums up what we talked about last week, is that our faith has become a very me-centric, I-centric faith. That as long as I have the right theology, as long as I'm doing the right things, that's all that matters. Granted, our circle is shrinking. There's less and less people who want to be around us, who like us. But God's going to do all these things for us. Right? But that's not the whole story. This is just a part of the message. What God is saying here through the prophet Jeremiah actually starts a few verses earlier. It starts off this way. He says, this is the message from God of the angel armies. Israel's God. He says, to all the exiles that I've taken from Jerusalem to Babylon. Right, God says flatly, you want to point a finger at who's caused you to be in exile? Well, point the finger at me. This is what I have done to you. There may be a chance in whatever tragedy, whatever hardship that you're going through, that you point the finger at all sorts of other people, the things that they've done, the laws that we have, the political system that we have. But there's a good chance that whatever it is that we're going through is because God has brought us into exile. Not because he likes torturing us, but because if we're going to be people of God, then we've got to be formed to not love this world. So he brings us through things to remove the love of this being our home. He says, he takes ownership of it. This is part of my process to turn you into who you say you want to be. So he says, while you're in exile, while you're in a place that's not designed to be your home, this is how I want you to live. He says, build houses and make yourselves at home. Put in gardens and eat what grows in that country. Marry and have children. Encourage your children to marry and have children so that you'll thrive in the country and not waste away. He says, make yourselves at home there and do what? He says, work for the country's welfare and pray for Babylon's well-being. Right? He gives us this mission statement when living in a land that's not our home. It can be summed up in these two sentences. He says, work for the country's welfare and pray for Babylon's well-being. In our lives, when we're interacting, working, living in our house, and any action that we do, if it does not uphold these two ideas, that we're working for the country's welfare and that we're praying for the well-being of the land that we live in, then what we've done is we've set ourselves up to say that this is our home. We're forming ourselves to say this is home for us. And God says to Jeremiah, man, you dive in and you live like the betterment of the community you're in means more to you than nothing else. That is the mission of your life as a follower of me, as part of this foreigner, alien role that I've given you, where you're just passing through here. But in your passing through, wherever I've put you, man, enjoy the food. You know what builds a house that you can invite people in and sit around a table with? Man, get married. Have kids. Have your kids get married. But most importantly, what are you doing in your life that is dedicated to the country's welfare? To making your neighborhood a better place, to making your city a better place, to making your county a better place. If your life can be summed up more by political social media posts or your job and striving to the top, or if these aren't elements of what is driving you in life right now, then the Lord's Prayer, and specifically the first line, is meant to help you reform what's going on inside of you. Because you're slowly being tied down like a plant kind of growing out of the ground and just growing over you and tying you down to a place that you weren't meant to be tied down to. What is happening here is not meant to be the priority in your life. You're supposed to have this heavenly mindset where that is my home, so what happens here, I'm going to live my life to the fullest in making my community a better place. When we started to think about Love Handles, it wasn't because we wanted to bring more calories into Syracuse. It wasn't because we wanted to get rich. But we said, God, how can we have a bridge in our community that's just going to be a story of we want to love our city well, of a community restorative movement. So that's why oftentimes the bottom line is not the driving factor. Now we try to get better. We want to break even. We want to even make money to use, but that doesn't come at the expense of our core values, the core values that you can't put a price tag on. We can't put a value on the influence that it has given us in our community. But beyond a shadow of a doubt, over the last 3 years, as we've given out $60,000+ to local organizations, as we've had weekly block parties, and people come up and say, this is awesome, I didn't know this was happening, this is so unexpected, thank you for doing this. We do it because we have a mission. To be about the betterment of our community. That's what we're gonna, Love Handles is just the first of many. We don't know what the next one is, but Love Handles is just the first of many, because our heart is not tied to Syracuse as our eternity. It's heaven. So as a result, we haven't cared for 9 years about being in our own building. But now here we are. For us, this next step is our next building. And already the building's not even ready, but we have the need of a group that wants to come in and have a place to do a Celebrate Recovery group. We have the need of where we have some young people who need a weekly program to be able to have. There's all sorts of needs that are just lined up, ready and waiting for us in this next building. And it could be argued that next building is less for what we're going to be doing on a Sunday morning, but what's going to be happening on Monday night and Tuesday night and Wednesday night, and maybe during the day, Monday, during the day, Tuesday. Because our goal is not just a new building for the sake of a new place to gather on Sunday, but it's for us to add and be good stewards of another tool that God wants to give us for restorative redemption in our community. And really, Forward Point, nobody exemplified this better than Jesus. Jesus, who was there in heaven, was in the place that eternity is his home. And he said, you know what, I'm going to step out of that and I'm going to step into time. I'm going to move into the neighborhood to give them tools that they need to be little movements of restorative justice in the places that they have given in. And as I look over and contemplated the life of Jesus, man, I began to think that there's not a time where you can really turn to where Jesus was like, hey, would you do this for me? I need this to happen. Is it possible for, the only time that I could think of was when he's dying on the cross and he says, I'm thirsty. That's the only time that I could come up with. In his 33 years of life where Jesus made it about himself. And it feels like he kind of earned that. But the rest of his life, it's about the people around him. It's about growing his circle. It's about getting them focused on where their eternity was going to be. So he says in this prayer, he says, allow these words, our Father in heaven, to begin to search you and see what has been forming inside of you. What has been happening? Where do you call home? And that's the challenge for us this morning. God, we're so grateful that you did step out of your home to be with us. Not just to free us or save us, but also to set us up on mission to be willing to do the same thing, to put our eternal home on the back burner for the sake of living in our community with this mindset of community restoration, where the people around me, without a doubt, we live as if they are 100% our family. But with the freedom that this is not our home. So if it costs me my resources, if it costs me my position, if it costs me my job, if it costs me my house, if it costs me my very life, that's not a cost that's too much, because I'm just passing through. And in passing through, we want to be used, God, to bring as many people home in heaven with us. So would you just continue to give us these glimpses of what it looks like to be a community of restorative betterment of our communities. I pray that this morning, just again, ideas would begin to bubble up to the surface where people are like, I don't see how this could happen, but this is something I've always wanted to do. And God, Forward Point would just be this place where people can come, and we don't kind of pigeonhole them into the things that we want to do, but we just become a sending ground, a place where people can be trained and be supported to begin to live out these things within the community. Where there's no price that's too great that we weren't willing to pay for the sake of loving on our community. Where there will be few things that we can be accused of, but loving our community will always come up to the top. From the people who don't agree with us, from the people who don't like us, from the people who can't stand our motive, but can't deny the resolve and the genuineness. So God, help us to be your people who love our family here, but live for our true home in heaven with you.
I need you to soften my heart, break me apart. I need you to open my eyes, to see that you're shaping my life. All I am. Let's worship, church. I surrender. Give me faith, trustworthy
your love is great. I'm broken inside, I give you my life. I need you. I need you to soften my heart and break me apart. I need you to pierce through the dark and cleanse every part of me. All I am, and all I am, we surrender. Give me faith, trust what you say, that you're good and your love is great. I'm broken inside, I give you my life. Let's sing it again. Give me faith. Give me faith, oh, trust what you say, that you're good and your love is great. I'm broken inside, I give you my life. 'Cause I may be weak, 'cause I may be weak, but your spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail, but my God, you never will. Let me hear you. 'Cause I may be weak, but your spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail, but my God, you never. 'Cause I may be weak, but your spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail, but my God, you never will. 'Cause I may be weak, but your spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail, but my God, you never will. Give me faith, give me faith to trust what you say, that you're good and your love is great. I'm broken inside, I give you my life. Give me faith. Give me faith, oh, to trust what you say, that you're good and your love is great. I'm broken inside, I give you my life. Sing with me, I am not alone, 'cause I am not alone, 'cause I am not alone. You will go before me, you will never leave me. I am not alone, I am not alone. You will go before me, you will never. I am not alone, 'cause I am not alone, I am not alone. You will go before me, you will never leave me. And I am not alone, I am not alone. You will go before me, you will never. You amaze me, oh, you amaze me, redeem me, you call me as your own. You amaze me, redeem me, and you call me as your own. You amaze me, redeem me, you call me as your own. You amaze me, redeem me, you call me as your own. When I walk through deep waters, I know you will be there with me. When I'm standing in the fire, I will not be overcome. Through the valley of the shadows, we will not fear, 'cause I am not alone. Well, I'm not alone. me, 'cause I am not alone. I'm not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. All I am and all I am, I surrender. I surrender. Give me faith. Give me faith, oh, to trust what you say. That you're good and your love is great. And I'm broken inside. I give you my life. Sing it one more time. Give me faith. Give me faith, oh, to trust what you say. That you're good and your love is great. I'm broken inside. I give you my life. Oh, I give you my life. Jesus, I give you my life. I give you my life. As the Spirit was moving over the water, Spirit, come move over us. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. As the Spirit was moving over the water, Spirit, come move over us. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. Rest on us, God. Let's sing it again. As the Spirit was moving over the water, Spirit, come move over us. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. As the Spirit was moving over the water, Spirit, come move over us. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. Just let the presence of God fill you right now. Let Him rest on you. Cool down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you feel the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me. Calm down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you feel the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me. You will feel us, God. Oh. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you feel the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me. Calm down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you feel the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me. Oh, you will feel us, God. Come feel us, God. Fire and wind, good, do it again. Open up the gates and heaven on in. Come rest on us, come rest on us. And fire and wind, do it again. Open up the gates and heaven on in. Come rest on us, come rest on us. And come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you feel the room, I'm here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me. Calm down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you feel the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. Make this your prayer. You're all we want. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. And Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. And come down. Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you feel the room, you're here and I know you will feel me. I'm here and I know you will feel me. Come down. Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you feel the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me. Come down. Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you feel the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me. Come down. Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you feel the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me. Give a shout of praise, church. Give a shout of praise. I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. The man's empty praise, treasures that fade, never enough. You came along, put me back together, and every desire now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing is better than you. I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you've seen them all, and you still call me friend. 'Cause the God of the mountain is the God of the valley. There's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing
mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn trees into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. The only one who can. Oh, there's nothing. Help me out. There's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. Come on, sing it. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. There's nothing is better than you. One more time. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing is better than you. Wait for it. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. See that, church?
Yes, he is the only one that can. Forward Point, if you're looking for next steps, if you've been here, first time, maybe you've been here a while and you just haven't connected with anything, we highly encourage you to really connect. One of the things that we mentioned in the beginning of the gathering was life groups. And life groups are an amazing thing because you don't have to do life alone. I know there's times where our lives are kind of programmed where we get into a car, we go to a job, we come home, we rinse and we repeat, and we do the same thing day in and day out. But what makes life meaningful are the relationships and the connections that we build along the way. Life is not a destination, it's a journey. So join a life group, life group shop. If you don't, try one week, try another week. Find a place that fits that you can call home. We highly encourage you to do that.
Yes, and then if this is where you've decided you wanted to give, there's a couple ways you can do that. You have in the back right over there, there's a box, the joy box, because giving is a joy. You can give online at forwardpoint.org. You can give by texting any amount to the number 84321. And then there's also the Church Center app. The Church Center app, guys, is a great way to get connected and stay connected. Again, life groups is a great way to get connected here. And then all of our events coming throughout this week.
Yeah, don't forget the life. We do have the kitchen that's coming up on Friday. So if you want to come off of that, definitely come off of that. Another way we can get connected, we have a prayer team that's in the back. They're faithful, and they're there every single gathering at the end. And they wait for anybody who has any kind of needs. If they want to pray for yourself, you want to pray for a family member, if you want to pray for a situation, they're always there. So if you are in need of prayer, before you leave, I highly recommend going and see them. Another thing, if you have an issue with your left ear and you need prayer, and if I'm speaking to you, you definitely don't want to leave before going over there and praying and hooking up with them.
And then please, if you have time after the gathering to help us clean up, the palace is so amazing for letting us be here on a Sunday morning, but they do have other events and stuff throughout the week. So if any time, please, there's a broom closet over there. Many hands make a light work. And then, hey, soon we won't have to do it because we'll be in our own building. Isn't that cool? Like, look at the thermometer. We're still at 39%, but we're closer than last time. And every dollar makes a difference. And every dollar means no more having to sweep up after the service, you know? Just saying, guys.
And if you brought a child, please leave with a child. I love saying that.
They love you.
Yeah, we like donations. We just don't want that type of donation. So you can check up your children upstairs. We thank you so much.
Have a great week, guys. Bye, guys.